This video we're going to look at how we use function A on the calculator, which is solving equations. So if we go into the menu, and we can either use the replay button and go down and across to A, or we can just press A here. It'll take us straight in, and if we press equals, we see we've got two different options on the menu. So the first one is solving simultaneous equations. So if we press number 1, the number of unknowns, we're going to solve this simultaneous equation up here, which has two unknowns, x and y. So we select number 2, and then we input the coefficients of our equation. So for the first equation, we've got 2x, so we press 2, press equals. We have 3y, it's a positive 3y, so we press 3 and equals, and that equals 14. And we press equals again. For the next one, we have 1x minus 1y, and that equals 2. So once we've got our equations input, we just press the equals button again, and that gives us the solutions. So it tells us here that x equals 4 and y equals 2. We can write that as single answers, or we could also write that as a pair of coordinates. We can then go press the equals button again, go back and input another pair of equations. The other thing in this menu, A, for the equation solver, if we go in, is to solve a polynomial. So if we press number 2, the most common polynomials that we'll have to solve will be quadratics. So we're going to input this quadratic here. So we're going to put 2x squared plus 5x minus 3, and we're going to solve that. So the degree of that is the highest power of x, or whichever of the letter that we're using. So the degree here is 2. We input the values of a, b and c, the coefficients. So we've got 2, 5, we press equals after each one again, and minus 3. Once we've input the details, we press equals again, and this gives us the solutions. So it tells us that x equals half, and if we press equals again, it tells us that x equals minus 3. Now, we can use that, particularly if it is a question which requires us to show all of our methods, a detailed reasoning question, to work backwards and input into a factorised form. So we would have 2x minus 1, and we'd have x plus 3. We can also use this function to solve a cubic and a quartic function. I'm going to show you very quickly how to do a cubic. This time the degree would be 3 because the highest power of x is x cubed, which is 3. We put the coefficients in, 3 minus 5 minus 26 minus 8. Press equals, gives us our first root is x equals 4. Press equals again, we get x equals minus a third. Press equals again, we get minus 2. We can again go backwards with our factorising. Once we have the roots, so it looks like we factorised that expression. Right, the other thing we can use this for, if I go back into the quadratic version and put that previous quadratic in, so we have the 2x squared, the 5x and the minus 3. If after we have our solutions we continue to press equals, we get the coordinates of the minimum point or the turning point of that curve, or the maximum point, and it tells us whether it's minimum or maximum as well. So here it tells us that the turning point will be minus 5 over 4 for the x coordinate, and if we press equals again, we get minus 49 over 8. So we can also use this to check if we were completing the square, if we had those values correct as well.